Hey, Assalamu alaikum everybody. So, get some general updates, few interesting stories, and then I'll be telling you about future plans. Already starting to plan ahead for after the program, inshallah. Um, yeah, so I was walking downstairs, on the Corniche, and I see this little kid running, and he must have been like 4 years old or something. I mean, just a really young kid, and it was late at night and he had a cigarette pack in his hand while he was running. Maybe he was running to his father or someone else, but it just made me, at first I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? You have this little kid who's running in the middle of the night with a pack of cigarettes, and he's like 4 or 5 years old. But then I was reminded of something that Dave Chappelle mentioned in one of his stand-up comedy acts, where he was talking about, being in his limousine, and I think it was in DC's ghetto, and he stops by and he sees this little baby walking around at 2 or 3 a.m. and he was selling either weed or crack or some sort of narcotic. And he said it as a joke, but I mean, what he's really trying to say, I think, is he's trying to comment on society's situation and drugs and children not being taken care of in the ghettos in the U.S. And so, although this may seem like a crazy thing, and any other person may have just said, yeah, you know what, that's terrible, this is Egypt. No, but we have the same problem too in the U.S., and I think we got to wake up and realize that drugs are a huge problem, not only in the ghettos, but also in the middle class, upper class places as well. I lived in a place that was, I guess you could say, kind of middle, upper middle, maybe even upper class, and you had the gazebo, and that was known, from my understanding, of where kids would buy drugs and drug deals would go down. So it happens everywhere, and it's affecting our communities, and we need to wake up to that. But I don't know, I was just able to relate it to a frame of reference, something I had in my mind about my own country. I have been so tired for the past week. I didn't say this about the Luxor and Aswan trip. We had to wake up between 3:30 and 5:30 a.m. every single morning, and I was just so sleep deprived, and it just changed my schedule that when I came back I just woke up at 4 a.m. just for no reason because my body was used to it. But then I hate my bed over here in my apartment. It's an Egyptian style bed, so it has like big pieces of wood, and it's so uncomfortable. I'm used to sleeping on the floor. I've been sleeping on the floor for, I don't know, God knows how many years, since high school, maybe sophomore year in high school. So it's been maybe 5, 6 years, something like that. And this is my first time where I'm sleeping on a bed, and it's just so uncomfortable. I wake up 20 times in the middle of the night, and I can't see a solution right now. So either I'm just going to take it, there's 4 more months left, or I'm just going to add pieces of wood between the big gaps, because you're just getting on with your knee, and your knee falls through, and then and you're just like, this is so uncomfortable. I don't know, we'll see what I have to do, but yesterday I had a great night's sleep, alhamdulillah, and just thankful to God for that. Yeah, so for the summer, I've applied. I want to take a position teaching Arabic for a summer program. So I'm going to see how that pans out, Istikhara is the best prayer. I love it. You pray it when you're not sure, and you're confident that whatever's going to happen is the best for you. So you always end up with a big smile on your face. Doing that, and then I'll see. If I don't get a job, I'll just come back here and keep studying. And I'm applying for long-term things because I want to work for 2 or 3 years in the field of teaching Arabic, or maybe translating. I'm not sure yet. But I prefer in the field of teaching Arabic. I don't want to teach English, but I might be forced to just for money's sake. I'll do that for 2 or 3 years and then apply for a PhD. I'll have to stay on campus for 2 or 3 years, depending on the program, and then back out, traveling, researching, and I don't know. I still want to travel, but I won't get a chance to do that, and I don't want to be like so many people who are like, I wish I could go back to your age and travel, and I've heard it from a lot of people, so trying to take advantage of that. There is an idea being thrown around to visit the oases in Egypt in early April. We have a week, spring break, but I'm going to see how that pans out, see what happens. That's April 1st, April 7th, and I was thinking of maybe going back to London, but just for my finances, it's just too expensive at this point that it would be so much cheaper to go across Egypt, go all the way down to Sudan again. I went to the Siwa Oasis, and it was beautiful. There's, I think, 4 more that are left. and I want to visit them all. Just so you know, you're in Egypt. Why not take advantage of such beautiful sights? I have a few minutes here, and I'm just going to add on another piece. Yesterday when I was doing all those videos, I was watching Memento, the movie from 2000, and I'd seen it before when I was younger, and I thought it was a bad movie, didn't like it. And the people around me thought it was a bad movie, but I just saw it yesterday, I thought it was a great movie, especially because when I'm videotaping all these things right now, you know, they're not at the right time like I usually do. I was trying to piece together the past, and it had to do with memory, and what is the past and what occurred, and you know, even when you see this video right now, if you tell somebody about it, I don't see why you would. Not too interesting. But if you do tell somebody about it, what you're going to say is not exactly what I say unless you show them it. And even when I'm talking about it, you know, as a primary source for these events, and you're a secondary source for these events, there's still something being lost there. So, you know, you get at the issue of what is knowledge and what is truth. And, you know, there are many different views. There are revisionists who, you know, want to be all exact and use rationale, and they keep canceling things out and no, this didn't happen because it's illogical, and I don't like that approach. And then you have other approaches as well. One, for example, is, oh, wow, I can't even remember the name, and this is my field. This is how long I haven't just spoken English and read all this stuff. Postmodernism. And so you're looking at, you know, is there really an absolute truth, or is everything subjective? And it's leaning toward the subjective area from my understanding right now in my memory. So we're all trying to piece together the past. That's my field. That's what I want to go into. I want to go into history. I went to the MISA conference, Middle East Studies Association, helped volunteered there. And this one lady gave this whole thing, and she's like, my whole PhD is on one man. He's not famous at all, and he was in 16th century Italy or something. And he was a blacksmith, and I'm just trying to figure out, I'm using letters, I'm trying to figure out this guy's life, and I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I hope I can do that as well. A historian is a detective. When I was trying to piece together my own past, and it was just in the past month, I went through my texts and I was looking for key names or items so that I could figure out when things happened. Another interesting thing is hadith and its role in history. Hadith is the science of transmission of different reports. There is not one person, and I've talked to people, and I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please send me an email. There's not one person in Western academics who has studied hadith in depth. It takes you at least a year to a year and a half of intensive studying and done Islamic history at the same time. Even though most historians, and I think there's just a handful of exceptions, were muhaddithin, which means they were hadith scholars. Here's what this means. When you read when you read Tarikh al-Tabri, Ibn Jarir al-Tabri, often quoted in Western academics for Islamic history, early Islamic history, he was a muhaddith, he was a hadith scholar. So what that means is when you read a traditional history book, it's not like your American history books. No, it'll tell you, I have this report of this event based, this person told this person told this person told this person. I have this other report of the same event but told a different way, because of this chain of narrators. It's called a sanad, this chain. Now what he'll say, you'll just read the arguments, you'll just read the bare material, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, he said this happened and this happened based on, and you'll probably see the names and boom, just skip down right next to it. That's what Western academics do. Now traditional and Islamic scholars do not do that. He's giving you a whole message in there, because, for example, in the story of Uthman, and this is just what I've learned from one of the Islamic scholars, he will give you the transmission, the story that is most famous about him. But what he'll do is he'll give you not a chain of narrators that is present, but it has one guy who's considered among the muhaddithin. They don't take anything from him because he's not a trustworthy person for this information, this khabar, this news. And what he'll do is he'll insert that name in there, and he's not adding something. I mean, there is really a chain of narrators that says that, to show you that I don't agree with this. I think that the other thing happened. That's how he gives you his opinion. But if we don't know this code, and we don't figure it out, then we don't even know what happened in the past. So yeah, I was trying to piece together my past, and saw Memento, and that was about memory and stuff like that. Good movie if you haven't seen it already. And yeah, just getting pumped up for history, and coming back to the U.S., which, oh my God, I did not talk about. So I'm just going to go a little over, just talk about that. Yeah.